Hello. Welcome. This is the 31st episode of the Dead Soon podcast. Um, Time's kind of gotten away from me a little bit and haven't really been super dialed in on the podcast. But I kind of realized, also just the year kind of getting away from me a little bit, like being already March 21st when it feels like it was just New Year. So, um, I think just work, working full time and sort of not having a lot of time on the weekends. So wanting to be sort of, I don't know, calculated on how I spend that time and um it's tougher to kind of plan a podcast episode and stuff. So today's just gonna be a very short, casual episode that I kind of just was like figured I'd do a little check in of my life. I Yeah, just sort of some random thoughts. Big one that I touched on, just kind of time flying. Literally everybody said it to me, and everybody says it to each other, just like how much time flies. But for sure agree. I've been working full time for 9 months, graduated 10 months ago, which just is crazy. I feel like I was just in school, and I'm sure all my friends at school or who I graduated with definitely agree. Time really does fly. Um, yeah, the already in March, I turned 23, which is crazy as well. It's 2026, also crazy. Just time, I don't know, feels crazy. So the way I'm going to structure this episode is just sort of like I feel like I like doing a little check in of sort of like what I'm watching, what I'm reading, um, and then just sort of like random reflections on notes and stuff. So yeah, let's just get into it. Probably not going to be a long episode, maybe 15 minutes. I don't really know. We'll see. Um, okay, media interest check-in. I'm calling this. I feel like this is cool, especially for myself when I'm if I have in 15 years, I look back and I'm like, oh, like what was I reading then? What was I doing then? So I kind of feel like I'm sort of treating this as a type of journal, in a way. Um, yeah. So first One Piece live action season 2. I watched. This is, for those who don't know, an adaptation of an anime slash manga, which is like a comic, um, that I really really love and that I've watched and read, and it's known for being like the longest running, like craziest story. Um, and I'm gonna probably have an episode. I had an episode where I had Robbie watch it. I think I'm gonna have an episode soon where I sort of just do like One Piece for beginners, and especially for like I don't know. I feel like the whole point will be more for like my parents or people that I know who have never watched it and probably won't watch it, but just sort of so they can understand it a little bit. Because I've been rereading it because I watched most of it and I didn't read a lot of it. It's sort of like you can read or watch, but going back to it, there's a live action version made by Netflix. The first season was in 2023. Second one was 2026. So it just came out like a week and a half ago. I loved it. Thought it was awesome. I got Robbie into it, my brother, which was very very fun. Me and him binged season 1 the week before season 2 came out. Perfect timing. So now we're just sad because we can't watch the next one because it's probably not going to be out for another year or two. But what makes it really good, it's authentic. It's committed to the craziness. It doesn't take itself very seriously, and it stays true to what it is. It doesn't try to be anything else. Um, and yeah, I think it's a very good series so far. I like it a lot. Um, I also recently watched A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, the Game of Thrones show, which was awesome. One of my favorite shows I've seen in a long time. Very concise, 6 episode, like 45 minutes each. Definitely highly recommend. You don't even have to have watched Game of Thrones. Um, it was so good. It felt. I think what I liked about it is that it kept the scope very small. Where Game of Thrones is a series that gets kind of difficult to follow at times. But yeah, like that a lot. I tried reading The Hobbit. I feel like I've tried reading it a couple times. I can't really get into it. I don't know if I think it's just the writing style. I can't really put my finger on what about the writing style. I think it's a little bit slow, maybe. Um, and I just kind of like, I can follow it if I like take it slow. but it kind of just, I don't know. It doesn't do it for me. Maybe one day I'll read it and I'll really, really love it because I know so many people love it, and that's why I really wanna kind of like it, but I just can't force myself to get to it. At some point, I'll read it, and I'm sure I'll love it one day. Um, I'm reading Dragon Ball, which is a manga, and it's also an anime. I'm liking it a lot. It's sort of like one of the major inspirations for One Piece, which One Piece is one of my favorite series. And so I really wanted to just kind of read Dragon Ball because it was such an inspiration for the series that I love, and I like it a lot. I tried watching it originally a couple of months back, really couldn't get into it. The voice acting was a lot. It just feels very outdated. It reads a lot better. It reads more modern, even though it is not modern. It was written in the 80s. Um, I feel like I can appreciate that humor more and just kind of take it slow and really just enjoy it. It's a big series as well, so I have a lot of reading to do. I've read 4 of the books. There's 16 in the original series, and then there's a secondary series, Dragon Ball Z, which has like, I don't even know, like 20, 30. So it's definitely a big series. I started reading the Odyssey, which I never thought I would say, because it kind of feeds into the stuff I was saying about The Hobbit, where I feel like I have this insecurity about like struggling to read complex things. Um, and I think I give up too easily sometimes and stuff, but I also feel like I don't want to have to research every page and really look into stuff. I'd rather just read stuff I understand. Um, I'm reading a translation by Emily Wilson, recommended to me by my girlfriend, um, who's a phenomenal reader and can kind of comprehend things very, very well, which I'm jealous of, and I think it's awesome. Um, I She recommended this version just because she really enjoyed it, and it's a recent translation. It was like 5 years ago. I never thought I could read something like this, and I am able to read it perfectly fine and really enjoy the story. And there's a movie coming out this summer, which was kind of part of the reason I wanted to read it. And I just know it's such a massive story, and I think I've getting into One Piece has kind of gotten me to realize how much I enjoy this like epic story like of adventure. And I know Odyssey is kind of the blueprint for a lot of those. So yeah, I mean, all credit to Emily Wilson. Phenomenal translation. I hope that I can crush it and then read the Iliad, which she also is a translation of. I think she's a professor at UPenn, which is super super cool. But yeah, definitely all credit to her and my girlfriend for introducing me to it as well. Then Game of Thrones, I started the audiobook. I feel like I'm reading a lot of different kind of things right now, but I feel like that's kind of how I am. Um, I I'm enjoying the Game of Thrones audiobook. We're doing it a lot on like my commutes and stuff, and like when I'm on the subway. Um, I like it, especially because I've watched it. I kind of already know the characters, which is nice because Game of Thrones is notorious for having so many characters and just a lot going on. The book is much slower paced. Um, the show had a pretty bad ending. Everybody basically unanimously agreed, and the books still haven't ended. Um, he's been, I don't think he's written one in a while, like 10 plus years. Um, but so I have time to catch up basically. And yeah, I'm liking it a lot so far. Those are my current sort of interests of media checking in. Yeah, I'm really enjoying reading again, and I'm also rereading One Piece just from the beginning. I think I mentioned that, but yeah. And then I think just getting back into like sort of like how much I've sort of realized that I enjoy this sort of like world building and setting, and it's really important for me to enjoy something fiction, and especially something fantasy. I don't know. It explains what gets. It's sort of like how I find interest in a show or a book or just a universe in general. Explains my love for Hunger Games and Adventure Time. I think are two that I totally different series, but Hunger Games and Adventure Time both have very unique worlds. Um, Adventure Time really goes into that wacky, silly side, and Hunger Games goes into that dystopian side. Just both really, really fantastically done world building, and I think it's important for me. I think there's a lot of different scales of the world building, being like One Piece on that crazy scale, and then there's stuff that can be super small scale, and you don't even learn about the rest of the world. I just think it's very fascinating. I've learned that I like it again, and it's helped me get back into fiction. I hadn't really been into fiction for a while. I've been really just nonfiction focused, like history books, biographies, which were awesome, and I really did enjoy. But it's nice to get some lightness and some fiction in my life. Next, I sort of think I've been reflecting more back on my 50-mile ultra marathon that I did back in April last year. So I mean it's been almost a year at this point. It's been like 11 months. Did it like end of April. I think I realized that it was a very unhealthy training block. Um, I definitely had a big time mental burnout. I was really just hating it towards the end. I think just first of all, training through the winter just sucks, and I hate it. Um, I was running outside. Luckily, if it was only treadmill, I don't think I would have survived. But I was running outside. Really, these early morning runs were brutal. I felt good afterwards a lot of the time, like mentally. But I think just stacking on the miles and stuff. I was I'm not I don't need to pull up the training plan, but I was doing like five I think it was like 5 to 6 days a week of running. And ultra training is a little bit different in the sense of like a marathon training, you're going to do one long run a week. Ultra training, you're generally going to do two. So I would be stacking like 30-mile weekends, like a Friday, Saturday. Like I'd do like a 12 mile on a Friday, and then like a 18 mile on a Saturday. And then I'd just be wrecked. And I think um, it would be not only the physical like soreness and pain and like tendon issues and muscle pains, but sort of like a central nervous system like kind of like wonkiness, especially after the run. I think I'm realizing that I sort of lost a lot of like I don't know, I didn't really feel like myself, and I definitely lost a lot of like motivation and just felt really weird. I couldn't run for a while, like mentally. I mean, physically, not for a couple weeks, just out of safeness, but mentally, I just really was not feeling it, and it just kind of crushed me a little bit. Um, Physically, I was really just kind of like taping myself together to kind of survive. I had a point where I had to take a full week off. I was going to the Bahamas with my friends, which was an awesome spring break trip. And I tried to like it was like a week where I was supposed to run like 45, 50 miles. And I just ended up running like 5, 6 miles total. And I really needed it. And it helped me reset. So that actually was a good thing that I sort of identified, and it kind of coincided with the Bahamas trip, which was nice. Um, but yeah, I really would just like I would be using a heating pad and ice on my feet every weekend basically, and or even just multiple times a week. It was definitely unhealthy. I'm proud of myself for doing it, absolutely. Really just like pushing through and accomplishing something fantastic and that I can look back on and be really proud of. But definitely some unhealthy training, and I think it's definitely educated me on on balance and identifying something in myself, and that I get very obsessed with things, and that was a lot. I There was a point where during sort of like the peak of it, when I was really training hard, I was first of all going too fast on a lot of my runs, and also it was all pavement most of the time, which is brutal. Um, but I would be wearing I'd be wearing a I would KT tape it was my left foot was the main issue. I'd KT tape it, so get some like tape on it. Then I'd go sock, ankle brace. I'd do a full like compression leg sleeve, a knee brace. I would KT tape the side of my calf that had a lot of pain. Um, and then yeah, so I mean, I'm like that's a lot. That's like a lot of stuff going on my leg and ankle, and it's my peroneal tendon was really the hot spot of a lot of my injuries. And I would get the runs done, but it would be brutal. It was bad. That was a lot. But so I don't know. I'm just kind of looking back and uh, realizing that was definitely a big learning experience for me, and it really burnt me out. So I learned I do enjoy it. I enjoy the ultra running. I enjoy running a lot, but I want to do it intentionally. I want to do it smart. Um, so I guess that goes into this my sort of like current fitness outlook. I want to be focused on balance and injury prevention. I Fitness and running especially is like a form of like meditation and like helps my mental health a lot. It's really important for me that I don't get injured because I really go on a downturn when I am injured. I get very like I'm just not happy. I feel like garbage. I definitely place a lot of my self-worth in like being able to work out, and it kind of gets my stress out. So when I'm not able to do that, it obviously just is not end up well. Yeah, so I've been sticking to around 20 miles a week. It ends up being like usually 4 runs in the week, which is nice. It's manageable. I was able to do it through the winter, which was tough. I really don't enjoy winter running. It sucks. Treadmills suck. Really just don't feel good. I want to, I, I struggle to find a weight and like strength routine that I really like, and I can stick to. Um, I tried kind of going all in, and I think I pushed it too hard and was kind of doing it and not really enjoying it. So I'm gonna try and try something a little bit more manageable and just do 2 strength workouts a week. It can just not really like forcing myself it to be anything specific. Just kind of getting used to it. Sometimes at the gym, sometimes I'll do something at home. I think I'm gonna try that. And stretching has also been a big one. So sort of like I have Strava, like this fitness app, and I have my sort of I can like set up like weekly goals. So my goals I have are 20 miles a week running, um, 4 stretching sessions a week. It's only like it could be a 10-minute or 20-minute session, quick and easy, and then 2 strength sessions. Can be whatever length. It could be a 20-minute, it could be an hour, whatever. I'd been doing good with the stretching and the running, just added in the weight stuff. So we'll see if I like it. I want it to be low stakes. I know that's what a lot of people recommend, is kind of just keeping it easy, something I can stick to. Um, and then sort of just like creativity, and I guess this podcast, it's difficult to stick to sometimes. I enjoy it when I make the time for it, but I think it kind of just gets lost in the shuffle, especially like if I'm doing like hanging out with friends or I have family stuff, and when I finally have like some just like time to just do whatever, I just don't gravitate towards the podcast sometimes. I think I just kind of go through waves. And I think that's a good transition into like just like my self identifying that I've very obsessive with like my sort of like phases and stuff. And if you know me well, then you probably know this already. I just kind of get super into something. I get obsessed. Then I sort of figure out its like role in the long term in my life. It's just a part of me. I mean, I think it's one of my strengths as well as it can be a weakness at times. But I think right now, it's just like good to identify that, and I think it's fine, and I think it's good to enjoy things. And I think when I'm in a phase of loving something, then doing it when I'm loving it might as well. Like I had a Lego phase for a while. I'm still pretty into it. I kind of just ran out of space in my area. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I had a Lego phase for a little bit. That was a shorter one. I had a big like phase of like being into clothes and stuff. And that one actually, I feel like ended good. I sort of had a lot of exploration, figuring stuff out, and like thrifting and watching videos, and I feel like I got to the point where I really just enjoyed all the clothes I had, and I sort of just thinned out the rest that I really didn't want, like donating, and sort of like getting in a good spot of like that sort of like when it stopped becoming an obsession of mine, I sort of found a healthy spot and sort of found a way of like using all this knowledge that I had and all these clothes that I really liked and found and curated like a sort of like clothes that I really enjoyed. And now that I'm not that into it, I have stuff that I like and I really don't have to think about it much, which is nice. Running has been one for a while, in and out. I think the ultra phase was the biggest one for my marathon to my first ultra to my second ultra. Um, Definitely. I think now it's kind of like I said, like found that healthier spot, more balanced. These 20-mile weeks. If I don't want to do it, then I'm just not gonna do it. I'm gonna if I don't have I'm not like I have these goals. I'm not forcing myself. If I don't want to do it, I'll do something else. I still like working out, but sometimes maybe I won't want to run. With the weather, I will definitely want to more than I was. Clash of Clans has definitely been one forever at this point. On and off. I've been taking a little bit of a break with it. Just kind of got a little burnt out. I just like I would play it a lot, and I would sort of the game is built on sort of like it wants you to feel a little bit of FOMO if you ever stop. So I think I'm taking a break and kind of resetting, and I mean I'm of course going to go back to it. I love the game. I think it just got to a point where I was kind of playing just because I felt like I didn't want to fall behind. Where I'm like, who cares? It's a game. I'll catch up. I'll enjoy it. It's fun. There's a lot of content. There's always going to be content. Podcast was one for a little bit. I think I'm finding a healthy spot for it. I think I want to get to the point where I'm doing it like once a month or so, but I think I just kind of struggle with that sometimes. So for now, it's sort of like setting that yearly goal. Like this year, I have a goal of 10 episodes, setting the yearly goal, and then just kind of doing it whenever. Like if I need to make up 3 episodes in December, then whatever, I'll do it. I'll hopefully accomplish my goal. We'll see. But yeah, enjoying it right now. Yeah. I guess my last couple of things. I wrote down the weather. I definitely felt the seasonal depression this winter, the antsiness, the waiting for the train station when it's 4 degrees, not fun. The getting in the freezing car in the morning, not fun. Running outside, awful. Treadmill, awful. So yeah, definitely felt that, but it's starting to warm up a little bit. It's nice, really enjoying it. But yeah, I definitely felt the seasonal depression a little bit, just antsiness and really I like being able to sit outside. I like being able to walk outside, and I just don't like the cold at all. I guess wrapping it up, we are 21% through the year, which is crazy. Um, yeah, I mean it's wild. 2026 feels like it just started. I feel like I just celebrated New Year. Um, but yeah, I want to try to get back on these check-ins. So feeling good. Enjoying my running, enjoying my books, enjoying my shows. Enjoying my friends. Shout out to Matt. One of my friends just moved to Japan. Matty Vig. Um, yeah, just life's good. Feeling good. If you listen to this, really appreciate it. Um, if you're me in 10 years listening to this, then hey, what up? Uh, yeah. And that is the 31st episode of the Dead Soon podcast. Appreciate you so much for listening. Yeah, thank you.